Okay, Al, I got this thing choked about maybe 10-15%. It's got a full bottle of seafoam in it and maybe a half a gallon of gas. I'm letting it run. I'll show you here. There's the amount of choke. If you ease up on the choke, she dies. Right? One of the things I don't like about the information display is it doesn't show temperature, so I'm gonna have to get a temp gauge for this thing. Those aren't cheap. Those high electric temp gauges, like 120 bucks. Here it's spitting and sputtering. I'll tell you, the exhaust in there is just really thick. The air filter is good. If the seafoam doesn't do the job, I'm going to have to tear the damn thing apart. It means all this shit's got to come out. Not leveling out like I hoped it would, Al. But it's only been running for about 10 minutes. So needle blinks. I hope the needle's blinking because it's low in fuel. It keeps going back to the fuel sign. And it's not blinking because the damn thing's too hot. See that? Well, you take the choke off and it's over. Nah. So I guess I'll just let her keep running. God only knows what the settings are on the carb, I have a feeling that when he said that the carb was rebuilt by somebody, I think he was lying, because half the damn screws are still loose. A couple are missing. I think maybe he did it himself, and it got to be more than he could handle, and that's why he sold. That's just my opinion. That's just a sleeve on it. The foam's all good and clean. Anyway, I'm gonna let her run. Maybe till it's out of gas, I guess. See if it doesn't burn itself clean. We'll see. Okay, an update on the four-wheeler. Had to dismantle pretty much all the front end to get to the carburetor to figure out why it was running so cruddy. While I had the front end all tore off and everything, the previous owner was using this as a winch control, and it kind of hung out the side panel. It looked really stupid. Anyway, I had this laying around left over from winch I put on the Polaris Ranger, so I mounted it on there, ran the cord down through the panel. I need to mount the box up here after that's on. Just wired into the existing winch lines there, and then everything's new from here on back to the battery. While I had this apart, I went ahead. I'm sure this is the stock fuel filter from the factory. Replaced it with a high volume filter. Ironically, Polaris uses the same filter on their vent lines for them. Go. Now, the previous owner said that he had taken this to a shop and had it worked on. The best they could do was to get it to run where you had to run about 10% choke to get the thing to idle, and it would idle real fast. Whatever. So I hit the forums, was reading about the boot and other issues. Got to tearing into it, sure enough, the boot. As you can see, carb boot is torn. So that should be here in a day or two. I'll get that back on. I got a new carb boot ordered, and I'm going to seafoam the hell out of that carb. I'm hoping it's just the carb boot, and the carburetor doesn't need rebuilt. If it does, we'll go from there. Also, these things apparently are notorious for eating the gaskets in the exhaust here. And then there's another one in the rear at the muffler itself. I've got two new ones. Napa 31360 is a crossover. There's also a Fel-Pro, but the Napa is $8 out the door a piece. So I got two of those. This, taking the gas tank out, was difficult because of this air line from transmission housing over here. Now, either a retard on the assembly line or Johnny engineer designed it so that the damn hose clamp that holds this little 25% piece of plastic on, the fitting for it is on this side of the pipe, which means in order for me to get in there to get that off so I could just pull this out, the tank come in and out easy, I'd have to take this floorboard off, the back rack off, the back fender off, the other floorboard, then pull this housing just to get the one measly ass screw. So thanks a lot, Polaris. Anyway, pulled the exhaust off, pulled the rings out, or the gaskets out. There's two of them. One where the exhaust pipe hooks up to the header here, right there. One there, and then there's one that donuts into the back of the front of the exhaust. They weren't in terrible shape, but they definitely were worn. However, again, thanks to the Polaris four-wheeler forums, wealth of information, thank goodness, Napa has the identical exhaust gasket, 31360. $8 out the door. So for 16 bucks at Napa, 16 bucks at Napa wouldn't even buy you one of the Polaris. Pretty happy about that. Okay, update on the carburetor job on this 2004 Polaris 700 Twin. Had to dismantle all that damn stuff to get in there to get at the car. Anyway, I think all my parts are here. Exhaust springs, exhaust donuts. That's a rubber stop the exhaust pipe sits on. At the frame. Boot for the carb. Air filter. Back. It's time to put this new boot on. I got the top of the head good and clean. You can see it there. And about the best stuff I have found for doing that is Deep Creek. You spray some on a rag, work it in there, and man, it's just great. We'll say goodbye to this damned old thing. And we will put this on. Now, in case you're wondering, no, your ears are not deceiving you. That is not Beatles music, but it could be considered the next best thing. A little Stones never hurt no one, did it? I'm gonna get busy on this. I'll catch up with you in a minute. Okay, the new boot is on, clamped in. The new filter is in. It's a paper filter, fluted. What came out of it was a foam filter. Moose Racing. I don't know, there's arguments on both sides, foam versus paper, the pleated. Same argument about this pre-filter that goes on over it. Some run it without it, some run it with it. One of the reasons there was so damn much stress on the old carb boot was this bracket, as you can see, is made to slide to adjust the carburetor forward a little bit or backwards. Some moron had it pulled all the way back. You can see I bent this one, getting the damn thing broke loose. And then they tightened those bolts down retard tight. Like I bent it getting it undone. So we'll see. Anyway, carb boot's on now. Filter's on. Got to put the filter lid back on and then reattach the snorkel for it that rides up over the fuel cell after the fuel cell is back in place. This is still a problem. I'm just going to pull it out of the way and hope I don't tear it off the nipple down there, outlet, or break it. We're probably almost to the point of getting the exhaust on. Okay. I'll talk to you later. Alright, here's the first crank up. My wire tied the gas tank on here. I got just enough gas and seed foam in there to run just a little bit. Anyway, this morning I got the exhaust back on. It didn't take long to burn that new paint off on that header. That's okay. That's okay. I haven't monkeyed with the idle. The choke is all the way in, Uncle Al. And according to this, it's idling about 1,300. The fuel keeps coming on because it knows it's low in gas, so it keeps reverting to that 1310, 1320. I'm gonna have to get the climber out and see what the idle should be. I don't think it should be that high. I wouldn't think. I turned her down about just a little bit. Now she's down to 1100, 1120. Here, suck that air. It's got, oh, the plugs. I put the auto light plugs back in. I cleaned them up. They weren't that dirty, so I went ahead and put them right back in. So it's banging off of those right now. It don't sound bad. It don't sound good, but it doesn't sound that bad. I got some NKGs over here. So I was going to hold off putting those in. Oh. So I'm going to go get the climber, take a look at it, see what it says about the idle. In the meantime, I'm just going to let her sit here and idle at this. It can burn through some of that sea foam and make sure that carb's good and clean. But, I think this thing's close enough that I don't think I'm going to have to pull the carb and do anything to it. Thank God. See how God looks out for children and retards? Anyway, I'm going to grab the climber. I'll be back.